Across the stars, everything once peaceful had begun to break. The galaxy had known times of balance, alliances, treaties, quiet trade. But now, world after world was going dark. Not from civil war, not from pirates, but from something no one could explain. A silent force moved from system to system, leaving only silence behind. There were no messages, no survivors, no battles recorded. Only empty planets where life once thrived. The Valari, a noble and gentle race, had long trusted the Galactic Council. They had shared their knowledge, offered help to smaller species, and believed in peace. But when their outpost on Trennis 4 went silent, they grew worried. When their colony on Myra Prime vanished, every man, woman, and child gone without trace, they panicked. Their first move was to contact the Council. It was protocol, after all. A formal request marked urgent. They sent data files, time-stamped warnings, heat maps of strange movements near the edge of their stars. Days passed. Nothing came back. Not a single reply. Some council members simply turned off communications. Others claimed they were monitoring the situation. But the Valari knew what that meant. Fear. No one wanted to face this enemy. The Valari High Chancellor stood before her people with shaking hands and tired eyes. "We have been abandoned," she said. "The stars have gone quiet." Her voice cracked. "But there is still one place we haven't called," her advisors argued. Earth was a strange world, wild, unpredictable. The humans had once been laughed at in the early council meetings, primitive, emotional, chaotic. But there was something else about them, something dark, something other races couldn't understand. A power hidden deep inside. Still, the Valari had no choice. Their last signal, sent through the deepest transmission waves, was simple. No files, no data, no explanation. Just one line. "Please, anyone, help us." Across the great distance, Earth received it, and Earth answered. The reply arrived 12 hours later, bouncing across satellites, relays, and quiet stations. Only 4 words: "We are on our way." The message stunned the Valari Council. No rank, no name, no request for information. Just those 4 cold, calm words. One Valari technician stared at the screen and whispered, "They didn't ask who. We are..." They didn't even ask what the threat is. The stars above the Valari homeworld flickered as if reacting to something unseen. Far beyond their borders, in deep space, something began to move. Huge engines ignited without sound. Black ships, larger than anything the Valari had ever seen, slid from the shadows like ancient predators waking from hibernation. No transponder. Codes, no visible weapon ports, no ship names. They flew in perfect formation, dark against the starlight, and silent as the void. One of the Valari generals watched the incoming fleet from the orbital telescope. "Who are they sending?" he asked. What kind of force answers like that? No one knew. But across dozens of monitoring stations, far from the Valari systems, the message had also been seen by others. Older races, powerful empires, once proud conquerors. They had ignored the Valari cries for help, thinking it wasn't their problem. But now they watched Earth's answer, and they grew afraid. Because when Earth moved, it didn't move lightly. No diplomatic ships had launched. No peace talks were planned. No ambassadors were coming. Only warships, giant ones, silent ones, ships with no history in the Galactic Registry, ships not seen since the last Great War, a war so terrible it had been erased from many archives. One captain from the Gernic Empire leaned forward as he watched the sensor feed. "The humans have awakened the Ghost Division," he said quietly. "I thought they were just a myth." A lower officer asked, "Who are they?" The captain simply replied, "They're what you send when you don't want a war. You want an ending." Back on Valari Prime, crowds gathered at the skies. The first ships would arrive in less than 1 day, and no one knew what would happen next. But the people noticed something in the stars. Movement. Slow and powerful. Black metal ships casting shadows across light years. The unknown enemy, still unseen, continued its approach. But this time, Earth was coming to meet it, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The Valari skies were never meant for war. Their world was full of blue seas and tall crystal trees that whispered in the wind. Cities floated above clouds. Songs echoed through the air, not alarms. But now, warning sirens screamed across every settlement. People packed into shelters. Defense stations were activated for the first time in centuries. And still, the enemy never showed itself. But Earth did. The first ship appeared on the outer edge of the system, black, massive, silent. Its surface looked like it had swallowed light itself. It didn't send a request. It didn't hail the planet. It just arrived. Then another came, and another. A whole formation of dark ships moved like shadows across the stars. They were not here to ask questions. They were here to finish something. Valari High Command tried to reach out. "Human fleet, we welcome you with gratitude. Please respond." But there was only silence. One technician whispered, "Maybe they don't talk before they act." The lead ship, marked only with an old Terran signal, X-47, stopped above the atmosphere. Then, without warning, it launched a black probe toward the surface. It landed with no sound, no fire, no heat signature. Soldiers from the Valari defense moved in to investigate. The probe opened slowly. Inside was a single device. A hologram flickered. A human, an older man with gray eyes and a hard face, appeared. He wore no rank, no name badge, just a black uniform with the Earth flag barely visible. His voice was cold. "We received your call. You are now under Earth's protection. Stay inside. Do not interfere. What comes next is not your war." And then the message ended. The Valari leaders looked at each other in silence. "He didn't even ask what attacked us," one said. "Maybe he already knows," another whispered. Hours passed. The alien enemy, still unseen, kept advancing toward Valari space. Their ships had no form, just gravity shifts and sensor glitches. It was like something pulling reality apart. Entire moons had vanished in other systems without a trace. Nothing was left. No radiation, no wreckage, just emptiness. The humans didn't flinch. They launched their first wave. But these were not normal attacks. The black ships didn't fire missiles or lasers. They released silent drones, millions of them. They moved like insects in perfect formation. The Valari watched from space stations as the swarm spread across the stars, heading toward the incoming threat. Then the sky split. An alien shape appeared. Wrong. Twisted. A ship. But not a ship. It looked like it was built by something that didn't understand physics or maybe didn't care. It pulsed with dark energy. It didn't appear. It tore through reality. Valari officers screamed as their sensors crashed. Nothing made sense, but the human ships didn't back off. The drones hit the enemy's hull, if it even had one. For a moment, everything went still. Then, silence broke. A shockwave hit the Valari satellites. The stars themselves looked like they were screaming. And the enemy ship blinked. One moment it was there, the next, it cracked apart like glass breaking in space. The Valari gasped. Did the humans do that? No, one of their generals said softly. That was a warning shot, from them. The Black Earth fleet moved. Again. This time, with purpose. More drones. More formations. The lead ship, X-47, charged a core weapon. But no light came from it. Just darkness. A growing sphere that made even space seem afraid. When it fired, no sound came. But a ripple tore. Across everything. And the alien enemy screamed. Not in words. Not in sound. But in the very fabric of existence. It was trying to escape. But Earth didn't let it. More human ships dropped out of warp. They weren't Navy. They weren't tagged. They had no history in the Council's files. Just one phrase came attached. To their old signal code, Eclipse Protocol, executed. Valari scholars searched their archives. One found something, buried deep in old war records. The Eclipse Protocol was never supposed to be used again. It was Earth's final plan. The one they swore to never activate. The last time it was used, entire star systems had gone silent. Earth had sealed the records, warning even its allies. Do not wake us unless you want the darkness to bleed. The Valari realized something chilling. The humans hadn't come to fight. They had come to erase. As the enemy ship screamed and twisted into impossible shapes, Earth's fleet moved in closer. No mercy, no negotiation, no retreat. The stars flickered, again, and one Valari child watching from her window whispered, "They're not here to save us. They're here to end whatever is chasing us." The war had begun, but Earth wasn't scared. It was ready, and the galaxy would soon learn. What humanity truly feared, they destroyed. The galaxy thought it had seen war before, but this was something else. Valari outposts watched helplessly as Earth's fleet chased the enemy into deep space. The strange alien threat, still unnamed, still silent, tried to flee toward the dark zones beyond mapped space. But the humans followed without hesitation. They didn't send updates. They didn't ask for backup. And they didn't care what the rest of the galaxy thought. From orbit, Valari watchers saw one of Earth's ships open a strange portal. It didn't look like wormholes or jump gates. It looked like space was folding around itself, breaking rules that shouldn't be broken. One Valari technician whispered, "I think they just opened a path through time." The ship vanished. The galaxy waited. Days passed. Then Earth sent a message, not to the Valari, not to the Council, to everyone. The message was short, one sentence, a video file attached. The sentence said, "This enemy has reached too far. Their hunger ends now." The video showed a battlefield above a burned-out moon. No stars in the sky. No sound, just ashes and broken wreckage. And in the center, something moving. At first, no one could tell what it was. The image flickered, as if the camera struggled to focus. Then it became clear. A tall creature, twisted, half organic, half machine. Not alive, not dead. Its eyes were empty. Its body looked stitched together from destroyed ships and bones of creatures no one could identify. It turned slowly toward the human soldiers on the ground. They didn't move. Then, without warning, the creature raised its arm and launched a blast of pure black energy, enough to rip mountains apart. But the humans stood still, and something strange happened. One of them stepped forward. No armor, no weapon, just a human. With glowing lines running under his skin, he raised his hand and absorbed the blast. The alien creature screeched. The human answered in a voice that shook the ground. "We are not here to talk. We are here to end this." The image ended. Panic spread across the Galactic Council chambers. The Empire of Traluan demanded Earth explain itself. The Loran Union called an emergency session, but no reply came. Back on Valari Prime, people watched the skies. They didn't know if the enemy was gone, or if something worse was coming. Then, late at night, a Valari scout ship detected something. A piece of wreckage floating toward their system. It wasn't from the enemy. It was from Earth. A black drone, damaged but still functional. It landed outside the capital and played one last message. A woman's voice. "Calm, human, do not fear. Your world is safe, for now. But understand this, if that thing reached you, it means more are coming. We will find them, we will stop them. But this was only the beginning." The message ended with a final line, etched into the drone's shell in dozens of alien languages. "Earth doesn't run, Earth doesn't kneel, Earth remembers." And then the drone self-destructed. The Valari knew the truth now. They hadn't called a savior. They had awakened a force the galaxy had long forgotten. And out in the darkness, Earth's warships moved silently, hunting something ancient. Something that had once hurt them long ago. And this time, humanity wasn't going to forgive. Out in the dark edge of the galaxy, the stars were dying. No one understood why. Whole sectors went dark, like someone had erased them. Trade routes vanished. Patrols never returned. Beacons stopped blinking. The Galactic Council met in panic. Dozens of races gathered in the golden chamber, voices raised in fear. Some blamed the silent enemy. Others blamed Earth. They brought this, hissed the Jalari ambassador. They came with fire and secrets. But the Valari stood tall. No, their leader said. We begged for help, and they came. You left us, the council shouted. Accusations flew. One admiral said Earth was hiding dangerous ancient tech. Another claimed humans had merged with something unnatural, something not from this universe. But no one could stop what was happening. Across space, Earth's ships kept moving, quiet, organized, relentless. They didn't answer messages. They didn't send updates. All they left behind were burning ruins of enemy strongholds. And silence. One day, a council scout ship caught a glimpse of them. It had followed faint energy signals to a shattered asteroid belt. There, in the middle of the floating rocks, was a massive black ship, larger than a moon. Shaped like a blade, it was not built by humans, but humans were inside it. The ship looked dead, but it wasn't. Its outer surface shimmered like liquid metal. Alien runes glowed faintly across its hull. The council crew tried to scan it. Their systems crashed instantly. Then came the voice, not from the ship's speakers, from inside their own minds. Do not follow, do not observe. You were warned. The crew screamed. Some fell to the floor, bleeding from their ears. The pilot tried to flee, but the engines failed. Then, just before the ship could be pulled into the strange vessel's gravity, it was released, and they were alone. The scout ship limped back to council space, but the recording it brought shocked everyone. It showed Earth's soldiers walking alongside something ancient, something not fully human anymore. The creatures were tall, armored, but quiet. They didn't speak. They didn't breathe. Some had glowing eyes. Others were more machine than flesh. Each one moved with deadly purpose. They are not soldiers, said the scientist watching the footage. They are reapers. One ambassador asked quietly, What is Earth doing? What did they awaken? A Valari elder answered with shaking hands. They didn't awaken it. They became it. And back on Earth, in a forgotten bunker under the surface, an old man watched a glowing screen. Dozens of lights blinked red, signals from across the galaxy. He tapped one with a wrinkled finger. The word above it read, Phase 2. He leaned back and whispered to himself, Let them remember why we were feared. The stars were quiet now. No enemy fleets, no distress calls, just silence, too heavy to feel peaceful. Across the galaxy, every species had seen what happened. Not just the destruction of the unknown enemy, but the change that followed. Humanity had won the war, but lost something in return. On the distant world of Sevaris, the Galactic Council called an emergency gathering. Not to fight Earth, not to punish them, but to decide whether to speak to them at all. The Valari were invited to explain Earth's actions. High Scholar Neril stepped forward, voice steady. She had seen it all. You called Earth to help us, she said, and they came. She paused, then continued. But they didn't come as saviors. They came as survivors. They brought pain, yes, but they also brought an ending. The room grew silent. At that moment, the main chamber lights flickered. A soft pulse ran through the room. No one moved. A message had arrived. No sound, no signature, just a simple data stream marked Source Unknown. It displayed a star map. One by one, red marks appeared. Planets, sectors, and moons where the enemy had struck. Then, blue marks followed, every location Earth had visited since the war. And finally, one more signal blinked on the screen. A single word. Clean, a Kalari diplomat spoke in fear. They're not just hunting the enemy, they're sanitizing the stars. But an older alien stood slowly, a war veteran who once fought humans centuries ago. No, he whispered. They're making sure nothing like it ever rises again. Back on Earth, no celebration echoed, no banners, no music. The city stood, strong but quiet. The sky above held the shapes of new ships, silent, massive, invisible to most sensors. Humanity had turned its pain into a purpose. In the shadows, deep underground, a final report was filed by Dr. Keller. The enemy learned fear from us. Now the stars do too. We are not conquerors. We are not gods. We are a warning. Then she turned off the lights, and far above, in the cold silence between galaxies, a voice drifted through the dark. You called us for help. Now remember what answered. The galaxy had grown quiet. Too quiet. Ever since Earth began its warpath, the mysterious enemy, once unstoppable, had gone silent. No more attacks, no more vanished planets, no more dark fleets, but no one believed it was over. Some feared Earth had destroyed the enemy completely. Others feared Earth had become something worse. The Galactic Council sent a stealth ship to observe Earth's home system. Its mission was simple: get close, scan for signs of danger, and leave without being seen. But when the ship reached the edge of Earth's solar system, it stopped, not because of weapons, not because of defenses, but because something was watching them. There were no ships, no satellites, no signals. Just a black shadow across space, too large to measure. It didn't move like a ship. It didn't look like a station. The crew stared at it, and then it blinked, not with eyes, but with energy. It saw them. The stealth ship turned back immediately, hearts racing, but one crew member, a young translator named Solvin, kept staring at the strange pulse patterns on the sensors. She realized something horrifying. It wasn't a ship. It was alive. Back in council space, the debate had turned into chaos. Some demanded a total embargo on Earth. Others suggested a preemptive strike. But no one had the courage to act, except one race. The Graxan. Proud, old, and warlike, the Graxan Empire had never feared any species. They decided to act without permission. They sent a fleet of 200 warships toward Earth's last known fleet. Position. They sent a message ahead. Earth has no right to rewrite galactic law. Stand down or be silenced. Earth didn't reply. 2 days later, a single Graxan ship returned, damaged, burning, and without sound. Inside, the crew was dead, but the ship's logs had one audio clip left. A human voice, calm, emotionless, and echoing in the dark. You were warned. The Graxan fell silent after that. Across the galaxy, the message was clear. Earth wasn't asking for respect. Earth had earned it through fear. Valari scientists continued studying the original enemy, the one that had started this war. They found ancient ruins on a dead planet in the Krell system. Symbols, warnings. One line repeated again and again in hundreds of languages. Do not call the old ones. They wake angry. And below that, in fresh writing, not ancient but recent, someone had scratched in human words. Too late. We woke up too. The Valari watched the skies. They had survived only because Earth came, but even they were afraid now. The enemy that once consumed entire star systems was gone. Its black ships turned to ash. But in its place, something colder remained. Earth's fleets no longer needed fuel. They no longer used names, only designations. Unit 07, Ghost 19, Reaper 03. They moved like machines, and yet they weren't. In the outer sectors, witnesses told stories of planets visited by these human ships. They didn't attack. They didn't speak. They simply hovered in orbit for hours, then left. But after they left, every AI, every sensor, every network on the planet was offline. Like something had touched the system and shut it down forever. It was as if humanity wasn't fighting the enemy anymore. It was cleaning up after it. Inside the hidden Valari base, High Scholar Neral sat with a human. Not a soldier, but a quiet woman named Dr. Keller. She wore no uniform, just a black coat and an old Earth badge that said, Psych Warfare Division, retired. Why are your people still moving? Neral asked. The human looked tired, like someone who had seen too much. They think we're dangerous now, she said. They should. Neral leaned forward. Why? She paused, then answered softly. Because Earth wasn't special, not in the beginning. We bled, we lost, we survived. But when that thing came for us, we had to become something new. Naral blinked. The silent enemy. Dr. Keller nodded. It wasn't just destroying planets, it was learning from them, copying their minds, taking their history, and it came for us. But Earth still stands, Naral said. Yes, she said, because we fed it something it couldn't copy. What was it? Dr. Keller stood. She didn't smile. Rage. She walked to the screen and tapped a blinking signal. It came to erase us. We gave it a virus instead. Not a code, an idea. One word, repeated in every language, every thought, every soldier's final breath. The screen zoomed in on a massive derelict enemy ship floating in deep space. It had no lights, no power. It was lifeless, written across its hull in burning. Scars was a single word. Remember. Dr. Keller turned back to Narral. Now the galaxy remembers who we are.